Miranda, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
It is so nice to see you today. How is the weather over in England?
Actually, it's incredibly beautiful at the moment. We are having hot weather, which is not hot according to California standards, but it's hot according to English standards. And that means I can walk around in a t-shirt. See my t-shirt?
I do see your t-shirt. Rich in simplicity. What a great slogan.
Isn't
That's
that
terrific.
beautiful? Yeah. A friend of mine owns this company, so I can have all kinds of different things printed. And
Nice.
I love the foils. Ding, ding, ding. Anyway, that's me having a
Um,
bit of fun.
I have been hoping that Days of Our Lives would invite you back for to the show for many years for many reasons. And one of which I think is that it made such an impact on the show, and that of all Stefano's children, and I don't know, right now it's hitting me that Megan is most like him. And what are your thoughts on that? That
Um,
Megan might be most like her father.
you're not the only one to say that. A lot of the fans are also putting that on social media. And in a way, I sort of have to just accept whatever people are saying because I don't know much at all about any of the other children. I know Tony and Andre.
Mm.
I know Kristen now. I know the tiniest bit about EJ and Stefan, but Lani, isn't that it? Lani, Lexi,
Lexi,
I know
yes.
nothing about. Renee was killed before I came on, and I've seen a few clips on YouTube. She was brilliant, actually. I loved Felice Sampler's work when I saw them on YouTube, but I don't know much about it. And so I can't really compare. Do you know what I mean? I know that for me as the actress, um, Stefano or Joe, but both are constantly in my mind. It's always a reference point for me. He's always there as Stefano, my father, Joe Mascola, the actor who is a friend and a really dear friend. So it's very much in the framework and the substance of what I bring as Megan, but I couldn't say I know what the others do.
How did this return to the show come about?
I believe that it started with the 50th anniversary. And when I showed up at the 50th anniversary, that started tongues wagging. Not just, oh my goodness, does that mean she's coming back? But also, that would be amazing if she came back. And I really feel like that was the first spark that started the embers. And down the road over the years, there was whispers here and there. Oh, they're thinking of bringing you back. You want to give a call to the head office or whatever. And sure, I'll talk to them. And then it never came to pass.
Mm.
What happened this time, I believe, and in fact, I know, is they were looking for a story and a storyline that could bring Bo and Hope back together for the day for the Beyond Salem. And Christian Alfonso, in fact, mentioned to the head writers, to Ron, to Albert Alar, that it might be interesting to bring Megan back, that might be an interesting way to do it. And so that was the avenue that they chose to take, on the back of Christian suggesting it.
Wonderful idea it turned out to be because,
Yeah,
on YouTube there are these great showdown scenes with you and Christian
yeah.
from mid 80s, and you guys had all that hair and they faced off against each other about Bo, and it was great soap opera. Two strong women diametrically opposed with against the other,
Yeah.
each wanting the same man and constantly verbally topping each other. And I thought that was just great. Do you
Mm.
remember? One thing I remember about your time on the show is you. I think you had mostly had Stefano all to yourself. He would have been at odds with Tony,
Yeah.
and the other children weren't around or in the picture yet at all. So, what are your memories of working with Joe and this legendary character he created.
It was glorious. Working with Joe was just a delight in my day. Um, he was fun, he was funny, he was engaging. He took everything very seriously, but at the same time lightheartedly. And in fact, to be honest, the one thing that I am a little bit disappointed about when I look at the scenes that are now airing is that there could have been more humor. Meg
Mm.
had more humor, more of what Joe brought to Stefano. And so had I had the opportunity to see the work before we got 6 months into it,
Yeah.
I would certainly have adjusted in that way because I feel like Megan is a little bit harsh and not, you can't really relate to her fully. I mean, I know that people love Megan, they love to hate Megan. They think she's great fun. She's bringing a dynamic that's interesting and really juicy. But I don't know if, as I'm watching her, she's as sympathetic as she might be if she had a bit more humor, if she was having a bit more fun. So we'll see.
That, that's a good point. But one instance I saw where they kind of, soap operas are interesting because viewers want to immerse themselves in the moment of what they're watching,
Mm.
and yet they're also aware of the realities of soap opera and casting. And at the end of May, when you had the scenes with Josh Taylor and Lauren Koslow, um, Josh took over the role of Roman, I think about a little over, maybe around 25 years ago. And since that time, from the day he started, and this is a testament to the groundbreaking character of Chris Kostachek, they said, "Oh, it's Chris, it's Chris, it's Chris." And even in Beyond Salem, they did have him reprise Chris.
I know.
Um, and I thought what they wrote and the line that you walked was absolutely perfection because Megan could speak to what she saw in front of her, and that I thought was very it was just the right touch. What did you think of those scenes?
Adored. Absolutely adored that. When I read that line in the script, I literally laughed out loud and I thought this is going to be so fun for the longtime fans because it's an inside outside joke, you know? Like it's a joke that everybody will get. And again, just it's fascinating to me because when I was on before we didn't have social media, but it's fascinating to me how there have been comments on social media that say she's a terrible actress. She let it slip Chris instead of
Oh,
saying woman. And I'm like, folks, that was written.
that's almost funny. It is, social media is interesting in that you can get feedback right away and such, but it's almost as if like every single possible uh, way to look at something is examined, and then responses to looking at all those different ways is examined. It gets to be a bit like I think Mickey Mouse and the Sorcerer's Apprentice with all the buckets of water. It just doesn't stop.
It's fascinating to me. One of the things that currently is going around is that some people are saying, what are we going to, we need to find another man for Megan so she can just get over Bo. And people are saying Lee would be a good option, or I don't remember the other ones, but Lee, because I'm working with Lee at the moment. And someone else comes back and says, ew, no, she's way too old. She's old enough to be Bo's grandmother. I'm just like, seriously? Where does that come
Wow.
from?
And it's also quite inaccurate. You know, for starters, again, and I'm sure that was written anonymously too. I think if everyone had to use their real name on Twitter,
Mm.
the comments would indeed not be what they are. You did speak to Megan's, you know, leaning into the villainy, but I think every show needs that. When you walked into the Demera mansion, when Megan did, and and the that iconic shot of you, and over the shoulder is the portrait of Joe Stefano,
Mm.
and it was that was pretty good. A writer had that in their mind,
Yeah.
and that, and then the laughter, because Joe had that great laugh. There were
Yes.
many episodes or scenes where Stefano would get the upper hand, and then he'd proclaim his victory with that laugh.
Yeah.
And that's what I think you captured perfectly. Were you thinking of that in those scenes?
I wasn't.
Oh
Um,
wow.
that's and so when people said that, I went, "Oh, that's right." I I'd forgotten, but it's true. It's just that it just came out, just like everything about Megan just comes out. I don't plan it. I don't sort of look at it ahead of time and go, okay, I'm going to do it like this. I don't ever do that, ever.
Right.
um the hiss that showed up recently in the scene when Leo left, I didn't plan that. That just came out.
Sure.
um and there was a time when I was with Rolf, it was the same thing. I screamed at him or whatever. It just, the thing is it's about really embodying that deep frustration, hatred, jealousy, all of those qualities that make Megan the evil person that she's made out to be, and just embracing that with enthusiasm and without any judgment that allows things to just go where they go. Um, and there's also this, for me as the actress, I too watch these scenes and go, oh, that was interesting. The fact that she's quite stiff, you know, I watch Kristen, and Kristen's like super relaxed and kind of all over the place and chilled and whatever. Megan's like really stiff. And I look at that and I go, oh, that's interesting too. That's interesting that that's the way that Megan is, that Megan carries herself. She's so tight. She's so um
Right.
the character's calculated, and
Right.
it fits. So I'm enjoying watching the way that it's all unfolded and the difference. And I'm loving watching Peter being Dimitri, and I'm loving watching Kristen, Stacy be Kristen, and it's great fun. I'm enjoying it very
Yeah.
much.
It shows. I'm racking my encyclopedic memory of Days of Our Lives. Has it ever been established? Do we know? And this might be something they could address in the future. Um, Megan's mother.
No.
What a great blank slate that would be
Mm.
to explore, because then we learn, and I'm assuming she was raised by Max Hathaway,
She
and
was,
it came
yeah.
raised by the Hathaways. So there's a Mrs. Hathaway out there who presumably is the biological mother. Who knows? Whatever the writers come up with, that would be something that I think could really be great material to dive into. Um, and the soaps used to have these matriarchal, um, larger than life, um, older actresses who kind of were such a huge part of the genre, and I think it would be great to have you back and explore that in particular. To say nothing of, Peter told me that he strongly indicated we have not seen the last of Bo. A lot of people had a problem with the cliffhanger, the way they had left it, but I thought, but that just leaves the door open. If
Mm.
Bo and Hope, if he had his memories back and was fine, and he just they sailed off into the sunset, we might never see them again. But now I think the door's been left open for all three of you. Is there any possibility of us seeing you beyond this stint? And if asked, would you return?
Definitely. I would definitely come back if I were asked. Um, I know that there are issues with the budget cuts
Yeah.
that make it difficult. that would make it difficult for them to bring anybody who's not local back. So we'll have to wait and see, really.
I'm
Uh,
sure you saw a lot of changes between when you were last on daytime in the was it Capitol or Santa Barbara that you had done last?
Santa Barbara was my last, yeah. And in fact, Richard Bloor, who did my wardrobe on Days, was the one who did my wardrobe on Santa Barbara when I was there.
Isn't he great?
He's
He's a
amazing. I
very talented
adore
man.
that one. He's
Yeah,
very talented. Mhm.
yeah. What was your character on Santa Barbara? I don't remember that.
Sandra Mills was a psychic. And when Cruz and Eden had a baby, and then it was kidnapped, and then it was murdered,
Mm,
and Eden went off to France to get over this and be with her sister in France, and Cruz stayed back. And as he was getting on the plane to go join his wife, Sandra showed up at the airport and said, "I've seen your baby." So
wow.
then thereafter ensued Cruz and Sandra having concentrated scenes together for several weeks while Marcy Walker was on maternity leave.
Right.
And Sandra was helping Cruz find Adriana, who she was a psychic and she had seen her in visions, and she kept having these visions and sent them on long chases, and eventually they found her.
What was it like working with A? He is such an amazing actor and a great guy.
Absolutely fantastic. In fact, someone asked me in an interview recently if Megan could have another love interest, who would it be? And I thought, well, A. Martinez could come back as Eduardo. That would be dynamic. So
I think that would be terrific.
that would be amazing, because I
Um,
think, their characters would really mesh, and A and I have a great chemistry together. So that would be great. But I think he's on another show right now. I can't remember.
yeah, I think he is too. He's always busy. And you were on the last part of Capital when that was on the air. That
Yeah.
was such a dramatic end to that show. Not only was Sloane facing the firing squad, but um, Sam and Myrna's marriage was on the rocks thanks to Kate. I know they were hopeful, guilty. I know they were hopeful for getting a syndication run or something, but what was your experience on that show like?
I loved working on Capital, and Kate had really fantastic material.
Yeah,
Working with Richard Eden, I've been so blessed with the
yeah,
male co-stars I've had. Absolutely blessed. Not a one could I complain about. Richard Egan was a gem, very much a father figure to me, and he loved our scenes because he was getting on in years, and here he was having an affair with this 20 something woman, and he used to giggle. He used to giggle and say, "Oh, can't believe that I got to do this today." Lovely, 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 lovely man. And Jess Walton,
oh sure,
working with her, and she and I are still
phenomenal.
friends. Exactly. Christine Kellogg, who played my sister, lovely, fantastic actor. Everyone. I
Sure.
loved working on that show. John Conboy was
Oh yeah.
just a
He
doll. And
deserves. Yep.
yeah, it's a shame that he's left us
Yeah.
soon. But
I uh,
yeah,
I ran into the head writer James Lipton when he was getting the Lifetime Achievement Award from Inside the Actor Studio, and he was the
right.
show's head writer. And I said to him, "So did Sloane really die in the firing squad?" And he barked at me and said, "I'm never telling." So that was kind of fun. Do you have
Yeah.
a final shout out to the fans who warmly embraced Megan, who remember her from her first time around and had so much fun seeing her continue the Demera legacy?
Oh, absolutely. Love, 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 love. You guys are the best. I get the most incredible messages on social media. The joy, the appreciation, the accolades, the absolute thrill that people have who watched Megan back in the day and see her now, and the ones who never knew Megan and are just meeting her for the first time and saying, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I am always completely blown away by how much the fans invest in the show. And thank you. Beyond, deeply, deeply, deeply.